So what if the Yankees go completely nuts this offseason now that the luxury tax is going to be reset at $210 million? They'll be under the threshold again. The penalty will be, I think, back to 20%. What if they went absolutely nuts and brought in Carlos Rodon and Max Scherzer to the rotation? Just pulled the San Diego Padres and just brought in all the top, traded for them and signed them. Like the Padres did. The Padres brought in Darvish. They brought in freaking Blake Snell. They brought in Mike Clevenger. And more. What if the Yankees did the same thing? They could. Now, I would not be surprised if he re-ups with the Dodgers because he did say that he would waive his no-trade clause for an extension. But that said, if he keeps pitching the way he's pitching and the Dodgers win the back-to-back World Series, he's increased his value. And so it'll create more interest. And there'll be some bidding wars. Even though he's going to be 37, he'll get a 3-year deal from somebody for good money. And keep in mind, too, the Dodgers have Clayton Kershaw to re-up as well. And I don't think Kershaw's going anywhere. I say, are they really going to re-sign Scherzer and Kershaw? I don't know. I mean, not exactly sure. And but so this creates an opportunity, I think, for the Yankees if he's not extended by then. He's represented by Scott Boras, so Scott Boras is more than likely going to take him out to the market and try to create some bidding wars here. But this is, and so is, by the way, so is Carlos Rodon. He's also represented by Scott Boras. So, but could you imagine if the Yankees invested their money in both of those guys this offseason? You put those behind a healthy Cole. Now I know Cole's got a little bit of tight hamstring now, but he'll be fine. And you get a Cole, you get a Scherzer and a Rodon, and then you add, Taillon has one more season left, and then he's a free agent. So, but you add him, you add Montgomery, you add the mustache, like Cortez, and now you have a squad, and you add Luis Hill on the back end, another young dynamic pitcher. Now you have a bomb squad for pitching, and you have depth, okay, and you have known competitors, gamers, and Max Scherzer's, he acts like a psychopath on the field. And from what I hear, he's a normal guy for the most part off of it, but he's nuts on the field. Doesn't like to be touched, doesn't like to be praised by his teammates. When he's in the zone, just stay out of his way, period. But he reminds me of Cole, too, because both of them don't hesitate to say, when the manager's coming out, get your ass back in the dugout right now. Okay? Or I take a bat to your head. And that's those guys. And absolute gamers. And I think, that if the Yankees, we're going to go all in, that's the type of all in I would go. A Rodon and a Scherzer, and not, and I would bring in a stopgap shortstop if they decide to move Gleyber to second. So, like an Andrelton Simmons or somebody like that until, if they feel Volpe's the answer or Peraza's the answer at shortstop, then you bring a stopgap. Otherwise, you get in one of those guys, one of these young dynamic guys. But then that would require you to move Torres to second and move DJ to first, and then that's, like I said, there's going to be, and I've said it recently a lot, there's going to be decisions to make at shortstop and first base, because no matter where you move somebody, when you move shortstop, first base creates a logjam at first base, not necessarily third, but because you could also move Gio if you want to shortstop for a time being. He's got better range than Torres. You can keep Velasquez around, keep Gio with third, and move Torres to second, and then you have a better defensive infield because Torres is much more natural as a second baseman. But then you're moving DJ to first, and then you got to figure out, what am I going to do here? Voit, am I moving him? Are we not bringing back Rizzo? You still have Chris Gittens as well in the minors, power hitting infielder too, and both Gittens and Voit are on the cheap. Rizzo's going to cost $70, $80 million. I get it. He's a good contact hitter. Got good leadership intangibles. He's got an elite glove at first base, so I see the value of bringing him back. But there are, what's it going to do to Voit, who needs to play regularly to be productive, as do pretty much all players. And then what happens with Stanton? Because then you're going to be clogging up. You're going to keep him in the outfield, and you have to have a rotating ball or a rotating thing going on for DH too, because you're going to have to give Stanton a DH day every now and then. You have to give him an off day every now and then. The same goes for Judge, same goes for Voit, same goes for these big power guys. So they all need regular rest, and so that's why investing, I think, in starting pitching at this point, two of them, not one of them, two, and then bringing in a reliever or two as well, while continuing to develop guys like Clay Holmes and these other guys. Um, that's where I think the money will be most well spent. And again, getting if there's a way in the world they could trade for Ketel Marte or Brian Reynolds, you got to do it. Okay, if you can do it without giving up Volpe, you got to do it. Okay, if you don't have to give up Volpe and or Hill, you got to do it. Okay, but I know they're going to ask for those guys, no doubt about it, and you probably won't get them without giving up one of them. So, I understand that logic too, and it would be a tough pill to swallow to give up one or the other, but depends on who you're getting in return. But could you imagine bringing in Scherzer? He'll probably get a 2 or 3 year deal, and he's still dominant. And a Rodon, who's I think going to be going into his 29-year season. So, and he's had issues with command recently, control, but he kind of put it together this year. And he's got a big arm, throws high 90s, throws gas. So that's a big arm to put in there. So, and that makes the rotation elite, super elite. So, just imagine. I want to imagine the possibility, because it is possible. And again, it's likely that he'll re-up with the Dodgers, but on the off chance that he does not, because Boras is going to put him out into the market, knowing that teams like the Yankees are going to be willing to spend, I would expect the Yankees to be big-time competitors. And those are the two guys I would laser focus on day one in free agency. Brian Cashman, I'm standing in front of his doorstep. The other guy, I'm sitting under his bed. Like, that's the all-out assault right there. So you let me know what you think.